Have you ever wondered why so many strokes happen within just a few hours of waking up? It's not a coincidence, and it's not bad luck. Researchers have spent decades studying what happens inside your body in that first hour after you open your eyes, and what they've found might change the way you start your day. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why mornings are such a vulnerable window for your brain and your blood vessels, and you'll walk away with simple, low-risk habits that could help protect you for years to come. Stick around, because the third habit we cover surprises almost everyone, even people who think they already eat well and exercise regularly. Let's talk about why this matters so much once you pass 60. Your blood vessels change with age. They become a little stiffer, a little less flexible, and your body's ability to regulate sudden shifts in blood pressure isn't quite what it used to be. At the same time, mornings bring a unique combination of stress on the cardiovascular system. Your body shifts out of a resting state, hormone levels change, and your blood becomes naturally thicker after hours without water. Researchers have become increasingly interested in this morning window because it appears again and again in studies of cardiovascular events. Today, we're going to walk through what the science actually shows, why it matters for people over 60 specifically, and what small, realistic adjustments may help support a smoother, safer start to your day. Let's start with what's happening inside your body overnight, because it sets the stage for everything else. While you sleep, you naturally go many hours without drinking any fluids. That means, by the time you wake up, your blood is more concentrated than it was the evening before. Researchers describe this as a normal part of the sleep cycle, but it does have consequences. Thicker blood moves a little less easily through your vessels, and for blood vessels that may already be narrowed or less flexible with age, that added resistance can matter. This is one of the reasons scientists have looked closely at hydration timing as a factor worth paying attention to, particularly for older adults whose vessels are more sensitive to these shifts. On top of that, your body goes through something called the morning blood pressure surge. This is a well-documented and completely normal process where your blood pressure rises as you transition from sleep into wakefulness. It's your body's way of preparing you for activity. But research has found that, in some people, especially those with existing blood pressure concerns, this surge can be more pronounced, and a steeper morning rise has been associated with a higher likelihood of cardiovascular events during those early hours. This doesn't mean the surge itself is dangerous for everyone. It simply means your body is doing more work first thing in the morning than most people realize. Understanding this is the foundation for everything else we're going to talk about, because many common morning habits either work with this natural process or add extra strain on top of it. Let's move into the first habit worth rethinking: getting out of bed too quickly. It's such a small, automatic action that most of us never think twice about it. The alarm goes off, and within seconds, we're upright, moving toward the bathroom or the kitchen. But going from lying flat to standing in one abrupt motion asks your cardiovascular system to make a fast adjustment. Blood has to redistribute against gravity, and your blood vessels need to constrict quickly to keep blood pressure stable as you stand. In younger adults, this usually happens smoothly and without any noticeable effect. But research has shown that, as we age, this reflex can slow down slightly, which is part of why lightheadedness upon standing becomes more common after 60. This matters because that brief drop in blood flow to the brain, even if it only lasts a few seconds, is happening at the exact same time your blood pressure is already naturally rising from the morning surge we just talked about. Combining a fast postural change with that surge creates a moment where your cardiovascular system is being asked to do a lot, very quickly. The practical takeaway here is refreshingly simple. Instead of springing up the moment you wake, try sitting on the edge of the bed for 30 seconds to a minute before standing. Let your body catch up. This costs you nothing, takes almost no extra time, and gives your circulatory system a gentler transition into the day. Now let's talk about the second habit, and this one connects directly back to what we discussed about overnight fluid loss. Many people don't drink any water until well into their morning routine, sometimes not until their first cup of coffee, which, as we'll get to shortly, doesn't count the same way. After 6, 7, or 8 hours without fluids, your body is essentially starting the day in a mild state of dehydration. Combine that with blood that's naturally thicker upon waking, and you have a cardiovascular system working under more resistance than it needs to. Researchers who study hydration and cardiovascular health have found that maintaining steady fluid intake, especially first thing in the morning, may help support healthier blood viscosity and circulation. This is not about drinking large amounts all at once. It's about giving your body the fluids it needs before asking it to handle the demands of an active day. A simple glass of water before your coffee, before your morning walk, before anything else is a small step that supports the exact processes we've been describing. This brings us naturally to something almost every household does each morning, that first cup of coffee. Coffee itself has actually been studied quite extensively, and moderate coffee consumption has been associated with a number of potential health benefits in research involving older adults. This video isn't about telling you to give up your morning coffee. The concern researchers point to is more specific. Caffeine causes a temporary spike in blood pressure, and when that spike lands on top of your body's already elevated morning blood pressure surge and on top of mild dehydration from the night before, it adds one more layer to a system that's already working harder than usual. The practical adjustment here isn't elimination, it's sequencing. Having a glass of water before your coffee and giving your body a little time to wake up naturally before introducing caffeine may help smooth out some of that stacked effect. Small shifts like this are far easier to sustain long-term than dramatic changes, and sustainable habits are what actually protect your health over years and decades. Let's move to the fourth factor, and this one often catches people off guard: cold exposure right after waking. Stepping outside to get the newspaper, taking out the trash, or walking to a cold car in the early morning might seem harmless, but temperature matters more than most people realize. Cold air causes blood vessels near the surface of your skin to constrict, which raises blood pressure temporarily. Researchers have observed that cardiovascular events tend to rise during colder months and during sudden temperature drops, and mornings are often the coldest part of the day. For someone whose blood pressure is already elevated from the natural morning surge, an unexpected blast of cold air is one more variable stacked on top of the others we've discussed. This doesn't mean you need to avoid the outdoors. It simply means being mindful, especially during colder months, about layering up before stepping outside and giving your body a few minutes to fully wake up and stabilize before facing a temperature change. Now, here's the habit that tends to surprise people the most, and it has less to do with the body and more to do with the mind, starting the day already rushed and stressed. Many of us wake up and immediately move into task mode, checking the phone, reading emails, scrolling through news, planning the day's to-do list, all before we've even had a chance to fully wake up. Researchers studying stress physiology have found that mental stress triggers many of the same cardiovascular responses as physical stress. Your body releases stress hormones, your heart rate can climb, and blood pressure can rise, essentially adding a second surge on top of the natural one your body is already experiencing. This is particularly relevant because, unlike overnight dehydration or cold weather, this factor is almost entirely within your control. Yet it's the one most people never think about. A few minutes of quiet before diving into the demands of the day, whether that's sitting with your coffee in silence, stepping outside for fresh air, or simply avoiding your phone for the first 15 minutes after waking, gives your nervous system a chance to ease into wakefulness rather than being jolted into it. If you're finding this information helpful, consider subscribing, because every week we break down the latest health research into practical, easy-to-follow advice for healthy aging. Let's talk about one more piece of the puzzle that ties everything together: timing of morning medication, particularly for anyone managing blood pressure. For people who take blood pressure medication, research has shown that consistency and timing can matter quite a bit. Skipping a dose, taking it significantly later than usual, or forgetting altogether removes one of the key tools your body relies on to manage that natural morning surge we've been talking about throughout this video. This is not medical advice about when specifically to take your medication, That's a conversation to have directly with your doctor or pharmacist. But it is a reminder that mornings are exactly the window where consistency matters most, given everything we now understand about this time of day. So let's bring this all together because, taken individually, none of these habits seem dramatic. Getting up quickly, skipping water, having coffee first, stepping into cold air, diving straight into stress, and inconsistent medication timing. Each one, on its own, is a small thing. But research suggests that mornings already place extra demand on your cardiovascular system through the natural blood pressure surge and overnight fluid loss. When several of these small habits stack on top of that natural process at the same time, day after day, year after year, it adds up to meaningful, cumulative strain on blood vessels that are already working harder as we age. The encouraging part of this story is that the adjustments are genuinely simple. Sit up slowly before standing. Drink a glass of water before your coffee. Dress warmly before stepping into cold air. Give yourself a few quiet minutes before checking your phone. Stay consistent with any medications your doctor has prescribed. None of these require expensive equipment, drastic lifestyle overhauls, or giving up things you enjoy. They simply require a little more awareness of what your body is already doing behind the scenes each morning. If you take away just one thing from this video, let it be this. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to change everything overnight. Pick one habit from this list, the one that feels easiest to start with, and build from there. Small, consistent changes, sustained over months and years, are what research consistently shows make the biggest difference in long-term cardiovascular health, far more than any single dramatic change ever could. Thank you for spending this time with us today. If this video helped you see your morning routine in a new light, consider sharing it with someone you care about, a parent, a spouse, a friend who could benefit from a gentler start to their day. And if you'd like more research-based guidance on healthy aging, brain health, and heart health, subscribing helps you catch every new video as it comes out.